This swirling feathers design is actually a two-part design. The first part came from the video Drips into a Beautiful Puddle, which taught you how to make a beautiful clamshell design using the three bears theory. First we did the baby bear, which was followed by the mama bear wrapping her arms around the baby, and then the papa bear hugging them both. The second part of this design came from the ABCs of feathers, which showed a simplistic way to create beautiful feathers when you're quilting. This brought back memories of our childhood drawing simple little birds. So we're going to use the simple bird and draw just one part of the wing. Besides the birds we used to draw, we also recalled the suns, and we used a combination of the bird and the sun to draw our feathers. So we've taken our bird wing up to the bottom of the sun. Now we'll travel around the sun until just about the very top. Then we're going to travel back down to where we started and bring it to a point. That's how we make our feathers. Okay, so now we're going to put our thinking caps on. We've got our three bears drawn. We want to think about our bird and our sun, and we're going to starting at Papa Bear, bird wing, up around the sun, and back to Papa Bear. Let's try that again. Let's echo a bird wing above that feather, around the imaginary sun, and back to Papa Bear. One more time. Let's echo around that feather, around the sun, and back to Papa Bear, each time coming back to a point. Now we'll continue on making our feathers. We're going to echo around the sun and back, echo around the sun and back, echo around the sun and back, and we'll continue on in this manner, each time bringing your feather to a point, like a real feather, until you get your shell finished. And now we're going to echo around the entire design, and notice each time I lift my pen, that is a place for you to stop and think what you're going to do next, or just take a rest. Okay, now that we've drawn it out and we've gotten this into muscle memory, let's take it to the machine. There's the baby bear. Now we're going to do the mama bear around that. Now we're going to do the papa bear, and the papa bear's going to tuck us all in. Now we're ready for feathers. So first we're going to start out, take a breath, let's do the bird wing, travel around that sun, and bring it back to Papa Bear. Good job. Echo that, around that sun, bring it back down to Papa Bear. Echo that, around the sun, bring it back to Papa Bear. Echo that, around the sun, bring it back to Papa Bear. And sometimes you don't have to echo it completely. If you don't get it right on the line, that's okay. That adds a little bit of interest also. You'll learn as you do this design that little deviations make interest in the overall design, from the size of the design down to the shapes of the feathers. Now we want to figure out which way we want to go. If I start right here and echo around, I'll end up someplace I don't want to be. So I'm going to like just scooch down here because I want to end up on the other end. So we're going to echo around this design now. And when we get done echoing, we'll be in a position where we can fill another part of the quilt. The nice part, and the part that I really love about this design, is you can make this small to fit our 6-inch squares that we're practicing with, or you can make it really big and fill a quilt up in no time at all. And it really makes a nice design on a quilt. So let's try to figure out where we're going next. Remember, each place that we go around, we can stop and think. We want all those shells to go in a different direction. So we were going up and down, now we're going sideways. So we've got our 3 bears done. We're ready to do our feathers. Now if we start on this side, we're going to end up on this side. If we start our feathers on the other side, we'll end up on the other side. If that's the side you want, let's start our feathers on that side. We want to get our feathers fairly close to where we were before so you don't have any big gaps in your quilting. The idea behind quilting is to try to fill up your entire quilt with quilting stitches so you don't have big open patches. So we'll continue on, and you'll see how we keep changing directions in this design. An easy way to remember where you're going to end up is if you start your feathers on the right hand side, you'll end up on the right hand side after you echo. If you start them on the left hand side, the same holds true. You'll end up on the left after you echo. And these were started on the left hand side, and after I echo around, you can see I'm right back to where I started that original sway of feathers. Just always keep in mind as you're doing this stitching, you want to remember where you're going to end up, because if you need to fill something in at the left, you want to end up at the left. So stop and think about it. And you have plenty of stopping places to do it, and if you haven't thought about it ahead of time, you can always do it when you get down to the bottom of your shell. I have room for one more little feather here. Always make room to echo back out. And the whole time I'm doing this, I'm thinking, where am I going to go next? Where would you go? Well, I think that I need to fill in the area above me. So I'm going to do that now. Because remember, we're going to be doing this in a 6-inch block. So I want to reach out those feathers as far as I can, because remember, we're doing this in a block. We want the whole block to be filled in. Normally I would not be stitching this close to the edge, but I just wanted you to see that you can make short little stubby feathers or big fat round feathers. It really is up to you, and a combination of all of them looks just fine in a quilt. Now I'm deliberately ending up on this other area or this direction because I have this tiny little area to fill. And let me give you a secret. You know how we do Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and Baby Bear in between? Well, maybe we'll just do Mama and Papa Bear here so we can fit it in. It's going to be a smaller shell, and that's okay too. But it gives us the opportunity to fill in this last little corner, which you're going to run into when you're doing your block. So let's echo around that. Continue to echo around. Now we're going to have this weird little strange place where we can't put a feather, so just do a few more little echoes in there, and that'll fill it in. And that takes us back where we're getting back over to the left, and we can continue on with our feathers into those big open spaces that we have. You can turn your piece too if you'd like, but if you're working on a big quilt, 9 chances out of 10 you're not going to turn it. You'll just keep going the way you are. So you've got your Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and Baby Bear. We're ready to do our feathers again. Reach way out with those feathers to fill that square in. Each time make sure you bring your feathers back to a point against Papa Bear. Some of them almost look like they're laying down on them, but that's what you need to do. Always make sure you have enough room to get that last petal in as well. And which direction are you going next? So let's do our echoing so that we end up going in the direction that we need it to be in so that we can do our next design. Now let's move around and we're ready to roll again. And that's basically how this design is formed. I hope you enjoy this. And I can't wait to see what you do with yours. This design really should come with a warning that it can become very addicting. Once you start, it's really hard to stop. I hope you enjoyed this week's lesson as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you.